Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing very, very well. Let's get started. So, who am I? So, my name is Arturo Pintor. I am a Gates Scholar, and it's a large part of why I'm here. The only possibility that I have to be here at Berry was through the Gate of Opportunity Scholarship Program. And for those of you who don't know, a very simplistic answer on how to describe the program is I work a lot. And I work a lot, and that has played to my advantage many times throughout my career here at Berry. I'm also a creative technologies major. I first started out as a dual degree engineering student, and very quickly throughout my first semester here at Berry, taking upper level physics classes and a calculus course that perhaps engineering was not the way to go. But I don't want to oversimplify it by saying that math was just too hard and that's why I gave up. No, instead, what I did is I chose another route. I remember speaking with Dr. Grout. I was communicating with him during my first semester here at Berry College, and he was telling me about the creative technologies. And so I was very interested, and all of the students who were Gates Scholars during the summer told me about the awesome program. I remember it was Heiko Cooper. He was one of my mentors and a Creative Tech alumni, and he was telling me, "I just got to show you the lab sometime. I just got to show you the lab sometime. It's so cool. You'll fall in love with it." And I remember he never did, by the way. But I will say, through talking and communicating with Dr. Grout, we could not find a time for me to come. And so it was like there were so many obstacles impeding me from coming until one day he handed me off to Dr. Zane Cochran, and he gave me a little tour around the lab. And I remember I fell in love with the lights, the kind of like the oohs and ahs of the lab, but also just the very idea of being able to create things and put in your own unique ideas to bring about something that's in your mind out into the real world. And that intrigued me. And so that's why I not only bought into it, but just engulfed myself into creative technologies. A little about me is I'm also an enthusiastic public speaker with about a decade of experience in speech competitions and presentations. And I love being able to speak to other people and be able just to kind of stand up there and either describe something or perhaps advocate for something else. And I'm also an adamant pugilist. As you can see here, I am a martial artist, a very adamant martial artist. And by the way, pugilism, for those of you who don't know, Dr. Grout has told me about it. It means someone who boxes. So my theme. My theme is designing websites that foster storytelling and usability. So throughout my time here at Berry, there has been something that's been apparent throughout my career here, and that's the idea of being able to tell a very good story. That the very best way for people to learn is being able to communicate it in story format. And it's been consistent throughout each course in my time here at CRT, especially in my courses of hackathons, where you have 4 hours to kind of bring an idea to life and put it out there for the world to see. And a lot of that is being able to communicate that in the way that you made it and the purpose of it and why it's important to you. And so I would like to kind of share with you my first project. My first project came from working in the Office of Academic Transitions. So as a Gates Scholar, I worked throughout the summers, and our office got a very unique task, which was working internationally with a group called Potentially. They're from the United Kingdom. And so Berry College wanted to kind of create a guided framework for first-year students. And so they wanted us to kind of take a website and kind of design it to become a tool, almost in a way, a guide to students throughout their time, throughout their 4 years here at Berry. And it is divided up into 4 phases, which is launch, design, immerse, and connect. So our job with this very website was not creating the functionality. We were not the designers. We weren't as far as building the page for what it is. We did not create all the cool features or anything like that. Our job was to simply make a medium aesthetic fidelity prototype, which essentially means is we're putting Berry onto the site. That's what we're doing is we're including content. And so that's what you see a lot of. We see a lot of Berry images and Berry brands here on the site, and also creating many of the cards that will kind of help students in their journey. For example, this right here is part of the launch phase, which is created just specifically for first-year students. And so clicking on one of these cards would take you to a little task that students can kind of use. And so this one is basically beginning your Berry journey. And it's a little survey about sharing your thoughts on about exploring your interests, strengths, values, and purpose. So it's very reflective in nature and helping students being able to understand more about themselves and their purpose here at this school. And so it was also one of my very first introductions to web design, and I fell in love with the idea of creating these beautiful little cards, pictures, as well as including these very thoughtful expressions for helping students understand themselves better. And so throughout this project, I had a lot of different experiences. Not only was I working with a team of Gates scholars and leading them and creating different content to input into the site and working alongside Dr. Sarah Coffin for the entirety of the summer on this project, but I was also given an opportunity to continue my public speaking, my passion in public speaking, being able to share this site with various students and being able to communicate how this tool can help them and guide them throughout their time here. And so I was giving a lot of experience public speaking, but as well as teamwork and collaboration, which here in Creative Technologies, we are encouraged to do. And so I found that to be very unique, that a lot of what I was learning in my courses, I was able to apply in a job position here on campus. And so my next project came from one of my very own CRT courses. So it was CRT 399, and it was a sound sensor study. I was part of Team Phobos. This was a group project. And throughout this time, I was introduced to Bootstrap and HTML, which essentially are web building tools and code. So HTML is the code that you see on web pages. And so this sound study was essentially, we created these small sensors and enclosures for them, and we put them in different spots in the lab. The different groups did. I was specifically in the Paint studio, and we kind of wanted to gather and collect information so that we can create meaningful questions to ask and answer to better understand kind of the sound levels that happen within that area. And there was also web design elements, as we'll go into now. So throughout this project, we hosted and kind of documented everything we had inside a website because we wanted to be able to display the information in a website form. And so this idea of storytelling came into play again. And so I would like to take you through this picture right here. So it's a very simple picture. As you can see, there's a kiosk, a little box and everything. But I want to tell you specifically about some design choices that we made as a team. And so here, as you can see through the navigation bar, you see the team, site survey, sensor, scrum, status, home, and conclusions. Essentially, what all that means was we are walking you through each step by step for our purpose, our reason, and our entire design process throughout this project, as well as our conclusions. What did we find? Was there anything cool that we saw or heard about? And so one of them that I really enjoyed was the conclusions page, which is up here. So we displayed all the information that we gathered from the sensors on a graph. And here in this specific question, in this graph, we included a horizontal line to understand at what points of times is the Paint Studio the loudest, and at what level is it that loudest, and do we need ear protection within the Paint Studio for those students? And so it was throughout this process where we can display the information that was very understandable for students who are visiting our site and being able to draw some very interesting conclusions about the space. So that was very fun. And then another one that I really enjoyed was the site survey. And so here we wanted to kind of, we used a lot of pictures to kind of show where it is we were working and what we were doing, and not so much just the words or the text. And so that's why you see a lot of pictures within the pages more so than text and documentation. We did a show rather than tell. And so on to the next project. So project 3 was the Courtside Boys. It was helping a local business. So I have a family member who's an entrepreneur. They are based in Dalton, Georgia. And their whole company is centered around creating different courts, pickleball courts, basketball courts, and even tennis courts for consumers. And so he came to me with the idea of, he knew that I was in creative tech, and he said, could you make me a prototype website? Just let me see what you can do. I'm trying to find someone to, create me a site, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to kind of practice some of the skills that you tell me all about. And so I said, of course, I'd love to. This is like one of a really cool idea and opportunity. So he said he wanted a website that attracts next level prospects. So he's very big on having people who have high disposable incomes to be able to buy into his product, because he wants to target them because they are more likely to share their information with other people who have high disposable incomes. And so for this project, I used Wix, which is a website builder, to kind of create this mock prototype website. I chose this very specifically because I didn't feel confident enough just yet in my HTML skills to do this, but also I wanted to kind of have a way that can kind of help me with time, And so Wix kind of facilitates a lot of that process with developing websites. And so what I did was throughout this process, I learned how to communicate outside the classroom in a business environment. And so that was very interesting because it was very different. I had to really pay attention to the details that he would tell me and kind of figure out what it is that he was wanting and what was the best way to display that on a website. And so I was I was very intimidated at the fact that I was given this project and I didn't know where to start. So what I did was I went to websites such as Nike. So this is an inspiration. This is not my work. This is Nike's website. And I went there at first because, they're very, they have athletic products. And so I thought, I'm going to go to someone who I believe, a company or institution that is successful, and see what they did. And so I took inspiration from them. And I saw that on their website, they have lots of pictures. They have lots of pictures and very few words. And so I saw that consistency throughout their site, and I wanted to mimic that within his. And so I made sure to include a lot of his brand within the site so that people can kind of see what it is that he valued most by keeping it short and simple. And so I made sure to include his logo as well as a lot of sayings that he had, a lot of the values that that he would say to me. So I made sure to communicate that on his site so that when people were there, they could clearly see the vision of his company and clearly see what it is that he valued. And I also made sure to use a lot of pictures and photos of projects that he has done in the past to kind of showcase his work. You can judge him based off his work and not just his words. So I coupled both together. And so that's what a lot of the inspiration came from, was from the Nike site, but also keeping his site black and white because those are the themes of his logo, but keeping it simplistic. I want it to be as simple as possible so that it communicates the idea very easily so that people understand exactly what it is that he wants. So capstone. My capstone was the creative reflection. It was a website to capture Barry students' first year experiences. So I mentioned earlier throughout my presentation that I was a Gates Scholar and I work closely with the Office of Academic Transitions, which essentially our role is to help transition high school students, high school seniors into Barry's first year. And so, and that's what I did. And I set out to do this through creating a website to host these stories. So my design goal one was this project will contain 5 stories from Barry's first year students detailing a reflective sense of their first year at Barry. And it will include a 30-minute multimedia event, so a presentation to kind of showcase everything that I have found and to share their stories. And this project will have a user-friendly interface where users can easily navigate to view student stories. I wanted that idea of simplicity to continue to communicate throughout the site. And so I'm going to walk you through a completed student page. So I gave a small introduction to students and who they are and a little bit about their positions here on campus. A small, very small introduction. And then I had the students that I chose. I chose 5 students, 2 freshmen, 1 sophomore, 1 junior, 1 senior, to kind of describe their first year here at Barry. And so I had them do it in a very creative way, which is what I called creative expressions. And I gave them the liberty to choose any platform they wanted to kind of showcase how their first year went, to kind of communicate how it went. And so a lot of them did very creative photo collages, as you can see here. Some did videos, and some did poems, and some did drawings and paintings. And I believe that it was very beautiful in a way to communicate and how it went their first year. And I love that about it. I wanted that creativity within this site. I also had a reflection of their first year, as well as one of the most important things I saw in the project was the lessons that they learned here at Barry. And so how it went and the impact wanted. So uh, I want to share this a little bit of this comment that a student emailed me when I gave a thank you message to all of them. What it meant to me. This made me really think about how far I've come. I spent the rest of the evening reflecting, not just on my freshman year, but also the rest of the years, junior and sophomore, and now senior year. It helped me see and feel gratitude for those who have helped me along this journey. And that's exactly the goal that I wanted from these students. I wanted them to be able to see the power in reflecting on their first year. And right here, I have all the questions that I asked within the event because I wanted it to be engaging. I didn't want to just sit there and talk more. I wanted more so interaction with the audience because I wanted them to be a part of this reflective journey that I was trying to create. And so finally, what's next is I graduate in December. I am a GATE scholar, so during that time, I would love to explore certifications in Adobe Suite. And furthermore, I really want to prioritize rest during the summer and really get that after a hard, long semester, kind of just put the brakes down a little bit and take some time to recuperate. So thank you.